Got as a backup just in case he couldn't make it.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm. As always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in and making GPS a part of your afternoon routine. Now, we are once again coming to you live from Paradise Island, where the 13th Commonwealth WAM meeting continues. And for those of you who missed the show yesterday, that is the Women's Affairs Ministerial Meeting of the Commonwealth that is being held here on Paradise Island. Over 56 nations represented by the Commonwealth of Nations and their ministers with responsibility for women's affairs or their representatives are here to discuss matters of importance to the welfare and empowerment of women and girls. So that is what our show is going to be about today. We are going to be talking to a very powerful man, I promised you yesterday, because I know y'all fellas go. When y'all hear a bunch of women talking, oh, that's just woman talk. Well, we're actually going to have a man in studio with us today. He's actually on his way here now. As you can imagine, this is a very fluid situation. Here he is. These people are in plenary sessions, and that means that they are available when they're available. Let me push this back so we can see us both. There we go.
Great.
So this handsome fella, his name is.
Can I quote you to my wife? That's a quotable quote.
I'm sure she knows already. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing your last name right. Arif Zaman.
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 Yeah.
Okay. He is the executive director of the Commonwealth Businesswomen's Network, which is an accredited organization directly recognized by 56 governments across 5 continents. So don't mind him playing a little modest. This is a very powerful man. And I thought it was important for us to talk to a man today because we need to hear from a male perspective why the work that is being done here at this meeting is important. Before we let you dive in, I want to go ahead and let my audience know how they can become a part of this conversation. So that's easy enough. The telephone numbers to call in are 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 8010271, 8010271. We are streaming live to the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM Facebook pages. If you haven't already done so, like and share the show. Let everyone know that we're on the air. You can also catch us live on our YouTube channels. And speaking of channels, we are coming to you on Cable Bahamas, channel 974. You can also download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device. Check us out there. And of course, a huge welcome to those of you listening by way of radio. 99.5 FM on the dial here in New Providence. A huge welcome to you all, as well as those of you listening in from Grand Bahama, throughout the archipelago, the islands of the Bahamas, and last but by no means least, all of you who are tuned in from around the world. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am truly honored and privileged to be sitting next to this gentleman, not only because of his credentials, but because of the fact that he had to pull himself away from a very important session to come here and talk to us real quick. So even if he can't do the full show, I fully understand. We will take as much of his time as he's willing to give us. But I met him yesterday for the first time. And immediately I thought, this would be a good interview for GPS. Because oftentimes when we talk about women's issues and you only hear women's voices, men sort of tune us out. They think, oh, that's just a bunch of women talking, let them run on. But it's a different conversation when we have a male involved in the narrative. And so as someone who has been a part of these talks for the past couple of days, you see the work that's being done here. How do you think this will impact the 56 Commonwealth of Nations in terms of the way they address the empowerment of women?
Well, Michelle, it's great to be here with you, and I'm just thrilled to be back in Bahamas. I was here, embarrassed to say this, but 10 years ago when we had the Commonwealth, worked with the government of Bahamas to host Commonwealth Business Council then to host the Bahamas International Business Investment Forum. Kay at that time was running our investment authority, and she did a grand job. And it was the biggest gathering in Bahamas' history of countries, 28 countries that were not just in the finance sector or in the tourism sector, but from a whole range of sectors. And great to be back here. This is an important day, Michelle, because there is a meeting going on, absolutely. But today a bit of history was made. We had the first Commonwealth country land on the moon.
What?
Yep, the first Commonwealth country landed on the moon. India landed on the South Pole today, a few hours ago. And actually, not only were they the first Commonwealth country to land on the moon, the Americans and the Russians and the Chinese, those are the only folks that have got to the moon.
Right.
And then the first Commonwealth country, but they've done even better than the Americans and the Russians and the Chinese. They've landed in the most difficult part, the South Pole. But here's the point. And the Secretary General reminded us this morning, there were 54 women scientists in that team.
Woohoo!
54. So look, it didn't happen without those 54
Hello,
women.
somebody, talk to me.
So this is the kind of narrative, Michelle, we need to bring into the mix.
Yes.
We need to talk about these achievements. We keep talking. I'm a university lecturer in London, Bloomsbury Institute, and I get so fed up of this thing around let's talk about entrepreneurs.
Yes.
It's always Richard Branson. It's always Elon Musk, and it's always Steve Jobs. Guess what's wrong with that? 3 men and 3 white men. Let's wake up and smell the coffee.
Hello.
There's a lot more stuff going on out there.
Yeah.
And we've been seeing some of that today and some of that yesterday in this meeting. You've got the Commonwealth's biggest country in the room, India, and the Commonwealth's smallest country, Nauru. Nauru, small country in the Pacific, population of 10,000.
Wow.
10,000 people.
And they're here.
It. Not only are they here, 4 of them are here.
Wow.
Because they think this is a great laboratory of learning, a great place to build relationships. And we've already had discussions with Nauru about how we could work with them and the Commonwealth Businesswomen's Network to support them as well. So that's what we've been doing, is sharing knowledge and ideas. And Bahamas, you have got great form here. Michelle, in terms of doing this. I cannot be here in front of you and not acknowledge that pivotal year, 1985, Nassau Accords.
Now, we have some young'uns watching this show who may not know what you're talking about. So please tell them what you're talking about so that we can know. Jamaica has a saying, we little but we powerful. In other words, we may be small, but that does not mean that we cannot have a global impact.
Well, Michelle, the high point, some people say, even people that are the harshest critics of the Commonwealth, will say that its high point arguably was the role it played in ending the apartheid system or the apartheid regime in South Africa.
Right.
And of course, there was one person at the heart of that, Nelson Mandela, but he was all locked up and nowhere to go. In 1985, he was in prison, I think probably even solitary at that time.
Right.
And that was the year the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting took place in this city, in Nassau.
Yes.
And the Commonwealth Heads of Government under your founding father.
Sir Lyndon Pinnock.
Absolutely. And so he was hosting that meeting. He then shared a group of Commonwealth countries to apply what? Economic sanctions against South Africa. And that was the key that unlocked the door. The Americans, they weren't interested. They suddenly felt, oh, we should get behind this as well.
Exactly.
Et cetera, et cetera. So none of that would have happened had that Nassau Accord unraveled and unlocked that. And that was why Nelson Mandela, as I think one of the first things he did when he became president, he flew straight back to Nassau to thank people personally.
Yes.
And he was like that. He was always remembering the contribution that people made. But here's the point. Women were not knitting during that struggle. Women in the anti-apartheid movement were not sitting there at home. They were part of that struggle. Even when we talk about independence, you've had your 50 years of independence. Women in Bahamas were not sitting at home doing nothing. I know in India, my aunt she was one of many young people in the Quit India movement as a student. These women were not sitting at home doing nothing. So your prime minister, when he opened this women's meeting a couple of days ago here at the Atlantis, he talked about the fact that Bahamas has played a key role in the history of the Commonwealth in terms of anti-apartheid, and now the challenge is around gender equality. And that's the battle we need to win. That's the battle that we can only win through working together.
But we could talk about women's equality from now until kingdom comes. But if you don't have equity as it relates to the empowerment of women financially, economically, then I dare say it's an exercise in futility.
Michelle, you're my new best friend, because that's exactly what the Commonwealth Businesswomen Network have been saying for 21 years.
Right.
Without economic empowerment, it ain't going to happen, because it's not just economic empowerment; it's about economic security. It's around reducing if there's reliance on a male breadwinner, or you're just making women more empowered, as you say. Giving them the tools and all of the things that they need to, whether it's starting their business or growing their business or in a corporate environment, to progress and grow. And that's so important. So I think you're absolutely right. Economic empowerment. The Commonwealth has got 4 priorities on gender. And these were set out just a few years ago, 3-4 years ago. One of them is exactly what you said, women's economic empowerment. The other is women in leadership. And we heard some great examples this morning about women in the Bahamas in positions of leadership. People like you're doing a radio show, and others. I mean, you're providing that sense of sharing and showing people. And so women in leadership is another priority. And then the 2 other areas, again, very important for you in the Bahamas: violence against women, but also women in climate change.
So tell me about the work that you do around the Commonwealth that moves towards that.
Well, we kind of sum it up in 3 words. We call it in 3 T's, which are trade, talent, and training. So yes, we do trade missions where we have men and women, but we make sure there are more women than men. We do those to a range of countries. We provide training, working with our partners. We're a voluntary organization where we work with our partners to provide training and skills in areas like digital skills and taking your businesses beyond borders, but also in terms of talent. Michelle, until we started it about 10 years ago, there was no celebration of women's achievement in business in the Commonwealth. And we thought that was important, not just for the women, but also for the young girls at school, and also to show what can be done, particularly in sectors where women are underrepresented. So one of the things we're very excited to announce in Bahamas as part of this meeting is a call to action. And we're working with the airline industry body IATA There's a initiative which they've got is 25 by 25, which is to get the world's airlines to do more for women in leadership. And I'm very pleased that Bahamas Air is already signed up in part of that, but not every airline is. So we're working with the airline industry body. The airline industry body, Michelle, is called IATA. And for the first time in 80 odd years, they've got a woman who's the chair of the board. And she's a woman of color. She's the CEO of Rwanda Air. And we spoke to her a few months ago. And she said, look, when I want to be chair, I want more Commonwealth countries, more airlines to be part of that. So that's a great initiative to get airlines, to show what airlines are doing, what more they can do. Airlines are important. I spent 16 years of my life working in British Airways. And I can tell you, the airline industry, we haven't got enough women at the top running the show.
So that was my next question. How does an airline contribute to not just this narrative, but actually putting their money where their mouth is to help to propel more leadership and economic empowerment of women? How does that work? What does that look like?
Well, let me give you the sort of Yvonne. Yvonne is the CEO of Rwanda Air, and so she's not been sent to head up, sort of a part of the organization. She is the CEO of the whole airline.
Okay.
So obviously the systems, the processes, the culture, the environment was such that was not only possible, but she's able to then. That was where she then got noticed. And then she got invited onto the international airline industry body of IATA, and now she's the first woman ever to be chair of the board. So I think the airline industry is a really interesting example, Michelle, because it spotlights an industry where there are a lot of women. Obviously there are hostesses, and you see them on check-in, but actually we're talking about people who are running a show, talking about people who are setting the rules, setting the direction of these organizations, and that's where we want to see more women in those underrepresented sectors. So IATA is also, Michelle, about not reinventing the wheel. If there's an existing program out there the private sector is doing, guess what? Let's work with them. Let's get more Commonwealth countries to be part of that. British Airways are part of that program. Bahamas Air are part of that program. So quite a few airlines are not. Quite a few are, but quite a few are not. So we want to show the ones that are doing something, what they're doing, and share that news, share that narrative. And for all those girls in school that think, I couldn't be a pilot, I couldn't be a captain, I couldn't be a CEO of an airline. Of course you can be, because these are the people who are. But we also want to show those airlines that are not part of that, wake up and smell the coffee, and join this and be part of it. Because if you don't, guess what? You're not going to get the talent you need. You're not going to get the customers you need.
You're doing yourself a disservice, in other words.
You're doing yourself a disservice. You're selling yourself short, and it's not even right anyway. There's a moral imperative and an economic imperative.
For the record, I don't want anybody listening to this show to think you are pushing the female or the woman just for the sake of pushing the female. So in other words, if I had to choose between a male pilot and a female pilot, you're saying that we should go with the female pilot just because she's a female. That's not what we're saying. We're talking about women who are qualified, but may not be favored because of the mere fact that they are women, correct?
It's equity, exactly. It's equity, Michelle. We want it's about equal opportunities and fair chances for that.
Right.
And I think that's where, and also if there are things going on, sexual harassment in the workplace, we need to address these issues.
Yes.
We need to ensure that when, if you, the worst thing that can happen is when women leave a company because there are issues that are not dealt with, like sexual harassment, and you lose that talent, they go somewhere else. And certainly in my career, without naming particular companies, but I've certainly seen some of the most talented women just leave, not because of issues around sexual harassment, because they don't feel the progression is happening in a fast pace, and so they go somewhere else. And so I think that's where it becomes really important. But also for the pipeline, Michelle, we want to get 60% of our 56 Commonwealth countries. We're talking about 50% of 2.6 billion people. So you can do the maths. 6% are under the age of 30. That's a big concentration of young people. I was speaking to one of the country delegates here, and they were telling me that 80% of the people in their country, I think it was Pakistan and one of the other countries, are under the age of 20. Bahamas, you've got a very young population.
Yes, we do.
So then, it becomes really important to do something about this. And remember, Michelle, that the Commonwealth, Bahamas doing business with Britain versus Bahamas doing business with Thailand, for example. What's the difference? Thailand's not in the Commonwealth and Britain is. And so when you get these two Commonwealth countries doing business together, it's 20% less in cost because of all of the common law, the legal infrastructure, the legal structures, all that stuff. And we want to make sure that women know about that and are given every opportunity to benefit from that.
We are talking, when you're talking about the Commonwealth of Nations, for those of you who may not understand the how large a population that is, you're talking about a third of the world's population are members of the Commonwealth.
1 in 3 people on the planet. You know what, Michelle? When we had the climate change talks in Paris, it would never have happened had Bahamas and other Commonwealth countries, particularly in this part of the world, but also in the Pacific, got together. You know what happened? I'll tell you the backstory. And it was actually literally days before that meeting in Paris, the climate change talks in Paris. I think COP26, whatever it was, that meeting was preceded by the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. And there were discussions going on until 2 in the morning to get an agreement. And which countries were really at it, working away? It was countries in the Caribbean and countries in the Pacific. So when they got to Paris, guess what? They had a framework agreement. Now, there's been no news story about that. There's been no write-up about that. You know, the Commonwealth isn't always at its best in promoting itself, but that's what happened. And that's why they had a framework agreement. In fact, Deodat Maharaj, the current executive director of the Caribbean Export Development Agency, at that time he was the Deputy Secretary General of the Commonwealth Secretariat. He was the person who was actually organising those late-night negotiations and talks. So, you know, the Commonwealth is at its best in bringing people together. And bringing people together when there's a shared interest, and absolutely gender equality is one of those, climate change is one of those, and young people and their opportunities, and there are so many other examples. But the good thing about the Commonwealth, I think, is we have the opportunity and the capacity to make a difference. And you've shown us, Michelle, you've shown us in Bahamas on several occasions how you've done that. Not just the Nassau Accord. In the last 5 years, you've hosted a meeting of education ministers, you've hosted a meeting of law ministers, and they've had outcomes as well. And so you got formed. The key message we've been saying to the Bahamas government here and to others in Bahamas, do not see this as a 36-hour, 3-day opportunity. See this as a 3-year opportunity.
Right.
Because Bahamas, you are in the driving seat. From right this minute, for the next 3 years, you are driving the gender agenda for the next 3 years until the next Women's Ministerial meeting.
And quite frankly, we need to put our money where our mouth is without sounding too cliche. In other words, we need to be seen to be doing what we are hosting and talking about here, not just talking about it, but actively making it happen.
And you're absolutely right. And we were really pleased to be working with Civil Society Bahamas and some of your civil society organizations here on Monday. We held a side event with them. Great opportunity for some of your Bahamas civil society organizations to meet some of the Commonwealth accredited organizations. We have the Commonwealth Trade Union Group, that's 70 million trade unions. We have Solar Optimist International. They've got 66,000 women across 118 countries, including 36 Commonwealth countries. We had Rotary International, Barry Rassin, the former international president. He's a local person here. And we had other organizations, the Businesswomen Network, the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, the Commonwealth Disabilities Forum. This meeting is the first time that disabilities has ever been put on the gender agenda. And that was something the Bahamas government was very keen to make happen. And it's right that that's the case. So, these are opportunities. But for us, it's about the I word, Michelle. It's about the intersection. As you said earlier, it's not just about women talking about gender equality, it's about men talking about these issues.
Absolutely.
Not just about people with disabilities, it's about the able-bodied also working with them. It's not just about young people, getting people from all ages to work with young people on youth issues. And that's where we feel, that's where the direction of travel is going. And that's where we think Bahamas, you're in a pivotal role to really make it happen.
Absolutely. How much time are you giving us in this interview today?
I've got a few more minutes if you want to go for a few more.
As long as you can give me.
Okay, well, I'm happy to go for a few more minutes. I've just got to quickly check on something.
Okay.
But I can literally stay here while you do that. And
All right.
And you say something else, and but I can stay for a few more minutes.
Good stuff. Okay, so again, the telephone numbers to call if you have a question, 3260271. 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 801-0271, 801-0271. Now keep in mind, this is a live, fluid environment. So there's a lot of activity and a lot of flurry going on around us, and that's because in a few minutes, in a room behind me, it's expected that the spouse of the Prime Minister of the Bahamas, Mrs. Anne-Marie Davis, is going to be walking in for another interview that will be going on in the room behind me. So please excuse any background noise or, movement that you will see, because this is a very fluid situation and we have to just, go with it. So we're going to take a break. And then on the other side of the break, we're going to continue this fascinating conversation about what we can realistically expect to come out of these meetings at a national level across the Commonwealth, so that we can actually see the pin moving closer and closer towards where we need to be individually, as a community, as individual nations, and as a Commonwealth of Nations. Stay with us. GPS will be back after these words from our sponsors. The break is about 4 minutes.
Global Paradise.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rim, fix, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, all-terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS. I'm Malcolm, and I want to thank you for joining us. We're coming to you once again live from Paradise Island, where the 13th Commonwealth WAM meeting is underway. That is Women's Affairs Ministerial Meeting. We have ministers from across the Commonwealth of Nations who are either here or have sent their representatives here to talk about women in terms of empowerment, women protection, women's affairs. So let me just put it that way. Now, I know prior to the break, we said that our last guest would be back on. As you can tell, this guy doesn't look like him. So, but like I explained to you, this is a very fluid situation. And just then during the break, our last guest got called into a very important meeting. It is what it is. This is what happens in a live environment. So luckily, we did have other guests who are lined up as well, just in case. You got to be prepared. And so the person sitting at the men's desk in the Department of Gender and Family Affairs. Welcome, sir, to the show.
Glad to be here.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of the show today. Tell us about the work that you do in the Department of Gender and Family Affairs.
Well, presently at the men's desk, the Gender and Family Affairs, this is, everybody knows about the women and
Yes.
the women.
Mhm.
But we now trying to bring back on stream. This was lying dormant for about maybe 3 years, and I've been one of those who work at the Simpson Penn Center for Boys. And because of the transformation of the center, I think they say the reward for good work is more work. So they moved me from working with the boys to now working with the fathers and the men of our nation, to bring our men to strength, to bring our men back to the place where we're supposed to be as men, as leaders, as those who are in charge of. First initiatives was to give us something called FLIRT.
Mhm.
And FLIRT is an acronym: fathers, learning, instructing, realigning teens,
Mhm.
to really show young men how to come back to who they are as young men, to put down the guns and all of the violence and everything, to bring them into everything that they're supposed to be. But our initiatives now, we're going to take it in stages. We're going to try to do different age group for men to bring from, let's just look at about maybe 18 to 35, 18 to 25,
Mhm.
and have initiatives for them to do where they will be able to be trained into doing another look up from about 35 and straight on up to about 50, because there are a whole lot of men who are doing stuff. There's a whole lot of men's organizations who are doing stuff and nobody knows, because they magnify the negative. And so what we're going to really try to do is to magnify the positive and the things that they're doing. All of the other groups, all of the groups that are busy doing stuff that nobody knows. And for the most part, we always think the church is not there and these ones are not doing what they're doing. But because a lot of men's groups are not getting credit for it, because they're not even bragging about it, they're not being the line, they're not out there trying to be seen.
Right.
So what we're going to do is highlight them. We're going to try to highlight our men so that you know it's not all lost. Just before I stop talking,
No,
what we would
keep
have
talking.
done at Simpson Penn, we would have brought those boys as a superintendent at Simpson Penn.
Mhm.
This was one of the first times we had good results in BJCs, and this year did BGCSEs, because we want to show the men that they're better than who they are.
Mm.
And buddy around me had this was on this, and the deck this morning, despite where I am, this is not who I am. I'm full of potential, vision, purpose. The Lord is making provision for my next move, even as I speak. Many other plans that I have, but it's the Lord's plan that will prevail. I am transformed. I am transformed. I am transformed. Ubuntu. I am, because we are. And when you feed that to your spirit every day, I have everyone around me feeding that to their spirit, and it's a complete transformation as to who you are as men and boys in our country.
Okay, I see somebody's name. He's Chadwick James, the coordinator of the men's desk of the Department of Gender and Family Affairs. And like you said, it's important for us to highlight your work, because we talk often about the work and the necessary programs that are out there to promote gender equality and women's and girls' affairs. And sometimes people are not aware that there's an equal amount of work going on as it relates to the promotion of the welfare of men as well. Now, you know, men and women have to learn how to work together, right?
Of course.
Because this is something that will benefit all of us.
Of course. Of course.
And I often say that it's not so much about, and this is just my personal opinion, you may differ from me out there, but it's not to me so much about equality, but more so about equity. Because equality means that everybody gets the same thing. But as a female, I may not need what you need.
Right.
And as a male, you may not need what I need. But if you give me what I need to help me to excel, to be the best me, that is far more effective than you giving me something that only a man needs or only a man could relate to. So, in my personal opinion, equity is what we should be pushing for. More, so with that in mind, and again, that's just my personal opinion.
Of course.
You've been attending this conference since the beginning of it, I'm assuming.
We really coordinated the whole thing from behind the scenes.
Okay. What is the importance of this dialogue being seen not just as a thing for women to pay attention to, but for both male and females to listen to, pay attention to, implement in their various nations, so that we all get what we need to be the best us, the best version of males, the best version of females, the best version of us as we seek to achieve equity?
See, the concern that we have is not even equality, because each person is 100% equal to the next. When you look at, even in scripture, when you talk about the man is 100% man, the woman is 100% woman. What you bring to the table is 100%. What I bring to the table is 100%.
Right.
But when you bring the 200%, it still comes back to 100%. That's what makes the equality. I cannot get pregnant. I need you to be the best woman that you can be to give me a child. You need me to be the best man I can be to give you a child. So the equality there is, give me 100%, I give you 100%. Once we give 100%, we get a full 100%.
Right.
Now the problem is when you think us coming together brings 200%. That's the problem. Because once you are all one with you and I'm all one with me, I don't have to fight to take your position.
This is not a competition.
It's not a competition. The bottom line is we have given our strength away, not even to the woman.
Wow.
Because the woman come with their own strength.
Okay.
So it's not even to the woman. We take the women to UB and we drop them off, and after we drop them off, then we go do foolishness on the
Hang
side
with
of
the
road.
boys.
We hang with the boys. Then when the ladies come back, they now have their degrees, and they try to talk with us. We cannot relate to them.
And then there's this level of resentment.
But they did not usurp the authority. I drop you off. And because you have wisdom, you decided to learn. And I didn't learn. So when you're speaking another language, it's not foreign language, it's foreign to me. Because now you're not saying I is anymore. You're saying I am. And I think you better than me because you're saying I am. No, it's not about, not even, see, all you have to understand all of equality before we get to equity.
Right.
Because once I know who I am and you know who you are, then we can move 100%, not 200%, not 150. If you bring 50-50 to the table, that's a whole 100 missing.
Wow.
You have to bring 100 to the table. So while we're doing this, if I'm training me and you're training you, then we still bring 100% of each other. That's what makes us equality. Now we know we're equal. So equity comes now, what can I bring to the table other than me just being a man? You just being a woman. Your qualities are, and even in my house with my wife, whatever she has to offer, we don't have the responsibility of the man, the responsibility of the woman. We have in our house duties. If you cannot iron, I don't care how much someone says that's a woman's duty, I will be Marsha. So let me iron.
And everybody look bad walking the house.
Exactly. So my equity is I bring ironing to the table.
Right.
And if you're good at spending the money, and I know that you're an integrator, that you receive, and you,
right.
I just give you all the money.
Right.
Because I know my wife is a professional banker. She's a manager by trade of the bank. Now, if I'm wasting the money, because I'm a pastor, so I always give it. I'm always giving every dime. If my wife steals my money, I will still waste more than she's stolen from me. Because she is gifted in the area of money. So now I learned that that's where my equity comes in.
Right.
I want to use her strength because she has 100% of that. With this meeting going on, we want to complain. Something the minister from Barbados said earlier in the conference, he said, everybody's saying women want to try to get in the way, women want to get in the way, and we stopping women from getting in the way. He said, all you have to do is move out the way. You don't have to make a way for women. Just move on the side. They know just how to make their own path. So once we learn that this whole conference is all about giving me the best, all of those women and those Bahamian women this morning, they made us proud. They spoke. I mean, I don't want to call names to get myself in trouble, but they spoke. Those Bahamian women represent the Commonwealth. Excellent. How do you complain about that? If you're not a good orator, let somebody else speak. I could stand on the side of you sounding good, and all I have to do is smile. At the end of the day, they would say, Bishop and Mrs. James look so nice together. But I didn't say anything because we're now in equity. So this whole conference is the same.
You know what this reminds me of? I saw an interview or talk to somebody, this was some years ago. He was a blue-collar worker, and his wife had some kind of master's degree in something, right? I think it was an interview that he was doing. And somebody asked him the question, you aren't intimidated by the fact that your wife has a master's degree and you're just a blue-collar worker? And he said, no. And they said, how come? He said, because I have a master's degree.
Of course.
Because she and I are one.
Exactly.
So that ain't her master's degree. That's our master's degree. I benefiting from that master's degree just as much as she benefiting. The skills that I bring to the table, they are skills as well.
Exactly. That's our skills.
That's our skills. And I thought that was so mature. And maturity is the word I intentionally used because I find that a lot of times, and this is not a knock at men, but we know they say women are emotional, men have egos. Y'all need to have that ego stroked.
We need that.
You need that.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. That's how God created you.
Of course.
But the thing is, you have to be mature enough to let that woman show her strengths without being intimidated by it, and understanding, especially if you are one in the union of marriage, that strength she got is our strength.
Of course. Of course.
That ain't her strength.
Of course.
Her master's degree is my master's degree.
Exactly.
My skill as a plumber is her skill as a plumber because we are unified as one.
That's where the equality comes in.
How do we get men to understand that? I have a lot of men who constantly call my show talking about, y'all women trying to compete. Y'all women trying to, this ain't a competition. Ain't nobody trying to compete.
But let me show you this. We talk about the men who are complaining about this competition.
Right.
The thing is, women don't really take anything from you. The woman is the help me. And whenever I perform ceremonies, I like to say, they help me, the light bill, they help me, the water bill, they help me, everything. I say that facetiously. But if I have a vision, she automatically complements that because she helps me to meet the vision.
Right.
If I do not have a vision, she's no longer a helpmeet. She becomes the visionaire. And if she is the visionaire, and you are now the helpmeet because you are complementing
as women,
her.
we can find something to do.
You will find something to do. Why? Because that's the innate you. That's what women do. They do the best they can do. They will take anything and create something from
Incubate.
it. That's what an incubator is all about. But with us, what we want to do is we want to just talk about this woman doing this or that woman. No, they have nothing to do with that. We have given up who we are as individuals. As a result of us giving up who we are, then we complain. I am not going to complain. And my job as the coordinator of the men's desk, I am transforming the thinking of our men. Because they come and say, you know what, in a little while, the woman can take over this place. Every woman, I don't care where they're from, they could be from the old adage, they Timbuktu. Once they find a strong man, you could be 6'5", all muscles. And if you're weak, they're going to look for that same 4'11" man with no muscles and follow after him and not follow after you. So the principle is, when you know who you are, let me give this example. Two things. My wife, being the manager, she manages the whole bank. She manages the bank.
Right.
While managing the bank, when she reaches home, she leaves being the manager of the bank to the wife. We use scripture and we say this. This is the big thing we say. We like to talk about at the end of saving in his own home. That simply means when you finish preaching, when you finish doing all of those things, when you finish having the revival and all the people get saved and all of this stuff, as soon as you reach home, the first thing your wife said to you is go empty the garbage. Now, how you could tell the man of God?
Not the man, the man
of God. No, the thing is, when you finish preaching, You have to give God his glory and come home and be the husband. And that's why we get mixed up. Because she don't see me as the man of God. She see me as my husband.
Right.
Husband, the garbage need to empty. So I can't be on my high horse. Let me go empty the garbage. That simply means give God his glory. Whatever we do in any situation as men, I have to teach our men in our society that tap into who you are. Once you know who you are as an individual, then you can appreciate others. But the problem is we don't know who we are. People who were born, for the most part, in the early 60s, the 70s, we need a couch. We literally need a couch. We need to sit down and share our hearts because we were not trained to talk.
Wow.
And if we don't have a couch to share there's some things that we were abused, we were broken. We kept it a secret that some of the men that we have leading our country, some of the men that we have in the forefront, we were abused, but we can't tell nobody that
No,
our
'cause you gotta be
parents
strong
abuse
man.
us and
Yeah.
some uncle abused us and
Yeah.
somebody messed with us. You can't say that because first thing you say that now you're homosexual. And it's not even about homosexuality. Mentally, we can't handle it because we abuse. So the first woman tried to become a strong woman. You think she's usurping
That's a
authority?
trigger. That's a
no,
trigger.
we need to sit down on the couch and just talk. Men don't talk because men talk.
Oh, say that again.
That's why men don't talk. Men don't talk because men talk. The minute that man opens his mouth, give him a chance and you're going to have to shut him up. We don't talk because everybody talk about everything else. But give us a chance to talk about us. It's going to take forever. But when that faucet turns on, you need a hose. Because men don't talk because men talk. And once we tap into that, then we make better senses to find out who men are, what did they go into, what's going on around here. We need a couch. And I would shout from the mountaintop that we need, as men, we need a couch.
That's
because we don't tell nobody nothing. We keep it in. And then all of a sudden you have women who are going through what they're going through. The first thing they do is they find someone to cry on their shoulder. Screaming, hollering. The men, we don't cry on nobody's shoulder. We drink, we smoke, we kill ourselves.
Abuse women.
We abuse all of this stuff.
Take the anger out on the woman.
Because that's the only person who we can beat.
Yeah.
I told someone when I approached this man who was abusing this woman, I said, "Why did you hit her? You see how she's talking to me?" I said, "Better if I talk to you, you won't hit me." No, no, there's no I. If you lost your composure for someone talking to you in that tone, you should lose it every time someone talks to you in that tone. But you find someone who you know can't beat you.
Right.
And that's where the problem comes in. When we learn who we are, I just keep going back to the fact that we need a couch. The men in our country needs a couch just to sit down and pour it all out. Once it's all done, I think we're going to be better. But until then, we're holding up, we bottle it inside, and that's where our situation is.
That is so powerful. Let's face it, boys become men.
Exactly.
And if you have a broken boy,
You have a broken man.
you're going to have an even more broken man. Well, I think a big part of our problem is that we have a lot of unresolved trauma.
Exactly. Get the couch.
So you may have had a mother as a man who herself had her own trauma that she was dealing with and didn't perhaps do the best job she could have, raising you in some cases alone. So she's taking her frustrations out on you. I'm not saying it's right.
You don't look like the daddy.
Right, or child. You're wrong. You look just like him.
Exactly.
So I'm not saying that women are perfect and women don't make mistakes, but a lot of them deal with their own trauma.
Exactly.
Of the couch they did not sit on.
Exactly.
But if you as a man are going to make every woman you encounter pay for what she did or did not do, that does not solve our issues in this country. And I believe that's a big part of what we see happening with the anger that is being expressed towards women and girls by men. Somebody dealing with some unresolved trauma.
The concern is you don't know you're angry. It's okay to be angry and know it. If you do not know you're angry, it's worse. Because I'm not mad at you, but yet you're abusing me. I do not know why I'm abusing you. I don't even know that I'm angry. And until you get that couch and say, listen, you hurt, you're broken, you're angry. Hurting people hurt people.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how, like you said, if you have a broken boy, he'll become a broken man.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we would have done, and I keep cross-referencing Simpson Pen because that's the past 5 years, that's my reference point. I have discovered, and I have to say this to our nation, being the superintendent of Simpson Pen, 90%, let me quote this, 90% of the boys in Simpson Pen had their fathers came to see them every Sunday.
Is that right?
90%. More fathers came to see their children, the boys up there, than mothers. That sounds unbelievable
Wow.
because nobody said it before, but now, and that's why I was able to have fathers realigning, fathers learning, instructing, realigning things, because I had the father's support. Now you would say those guys, they don't have fathers. Yes, they had fathers. The problem is, Scripture says, train up the child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. We place emphasis on the training. I don't place emphasis on the training. I place emphasis on the not depart from it. So if you train your son to be a criminal, because a lot of them were criminals, they train the son to be a criminal, this is the scary part. They will not depart from it, because that's the training.
Wow.
Whatever you train your son, that's what you will see. Why? They will not depart from it. And as a result of that, I had to now allow those fathers to show their sons, I love you, to hold on to them right there at Simpson Pen. Listen, just show him some more love. And those guys, when it's time for their daddies, these same daddies who we consider deadbeat dad, because they're coming there to see their sons, and we can't stop them, even though they might have been dealing drugs or involved in crime and all this other stuff. That's still their son. Training them, they will not depart from it, so they can see their son's future in themselves. So now they're trying to see, how could I help my boy out so you don't be like me? I've been in jail, I did this, I did the next thing. Fathers, I'm telling you, more fathers came to see their sons, but the nation doesn't know that. That's why I'm saying it now, because I'm not there, I could say that. So the fathers are actively involved in their lives, and that's why now at the men's desk, I have to promote that. I have to promote that those guys were doing BGCSEs and they were doing BJCs, they're doing a good job. But no, but they came with they would more than likely end up in jail. Why they would end up in jail? Because they already committed the offenses.
This is truly powerful. I'm glad that you have the opportunity to come here and talk. And I think this is a woman-focused conference. You cannot talk about gender issues if you're not involving the male perspective in the narrative.
Yes.
You have to. This is going to take the effort of us both. This is not just going to be women talking about women's affairs, but men have to be involved in this conversation now.
And that's what they're saying in the conference. They're sharing that no matter how much we're doing this conference, we need to have the men on board. We need the men to be there. And really, it is so amazing. I remember one day I was building church, and we were doing construction. It was about 4 men, 4 of us, but we were in the cement. We were digging. We were trying to pull this dirt to spread it in the foundation of the church one way or the other. So our wives were in the office, and I yelled out for the wives. I told them, y'all come here for me, please. And the wives came. And the wives yesterday, they said, Bishop, you called me, what you saying? I said nothing to them. All of a sudden, once our wives came, all the men grabbed the shovel and started shoveling. And I said nothing. We just kept shoveling. By the time all of the asphalt or the dirt, whatever it was smooth, they said, what you call us for? I said, so we can finish. We need you. You don't have to say nothing, just to support the work that we're doing. Once I brought those women out there, they can't let their wives see they tired. So everybody started shoveling. The work that being empowered, as much as women are doing, they need how far you push a woman ahead. She will not leave a man behind because she wants to follow him. And that's an automatic. That's why God gave us this equal 100%. You're the woman, I'm the man, and let's press. And I shut up.
Before you shut up, I'm glad you said that, because I'm sorry, there's a lot of warped information that has been passed on to men from the time they were boys. And so they've grown up into men not even realizing that the narrative in their head is warped. I will give you an example. One day I went to the farmer's market, and against better judgment, I got involved in an argument or a discussion with a group of men. And they were talking about how women need to know their role and, all trying to compete, and the woman this and woman the next. I said, okay, let's talk about the roles. What is the woman's role as it relates to the domestic or the home environment? Oh, she's supposed to cook and she's supposed to clean and she's supposed to take care of children and she's supposed to do this and she's supposed to do that. And it was this long list of everything that this woman is supposed to do. I said, okay, what's your role? Well, I supposed to mow the lawn. I say once every what, month, 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Okay, that's one. What else are you supposed to do? I'll take out the garbage. I said, okay. What else are you supposed to do? He listed about 3 things. I said, so you trying to tell me that all you as the man is supposed to do in your mind is take out the garbage, mow the lawn that it ain't mowing. You can't say you're bringing home the bacon by yourself because nowadays she got to go to work just like you
And making more money.
to try to make ends meet. So the 2 year old working. But that is all you have to do. You know what he said to me? I said, I got to do all these things for the male fact that I'm a woman. You know, tell me, am my fault? God make you a
Let me number one, Jesus himself needed the approval of his Father. Jesus this is my beloved. Approval of his Father. On that baptism, that's something called the huios, which is Greek word huios, theos. Which means the son of the God child son ceremony. And what happens is, if you understand the story, the Jewish man, what he would do is every practice, a woman will be to every game, a woman will be to every whatever the child is doing, and that'll be okay. But let the daddy show up one time.
Yeah.
The boy's gonna hit one hand. When he got to the baptism, he was before the baptism.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Okay, I think we're back up now. Those of you who are praying people, pray we stay up, okay? We're here coming to you live from the Atlantis resort where this WAM conference is going on. And as you can tell, we're having little issues with the internet connection. So let's pray that we can get through this without being knocked off again. Before we bring Chadwick James back into the conversation, let's throw out how you can become a part of the conversation if you have a question for Mr. James, who is, by the way, the coordinator of the men's desk of the Department of Gender and Family Affairs here in the Bahamas. Of course, we're coming to you live, and so let's throw out how you can join in on this conversation. You may have a question, and I'm just trying to pull up that information. Here we go. So the telephone numbers to call, 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line is 801-0271, 0271. We're streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages. If you haven't already done so, please like and share the show. We are also coming to you live on our YouTube channels. And speaking of channels, we're on Cable Bahamas channel 97 FM app to your smart device, and check us out that way. Of course, we are on radio. So if you're listening by way of radio, definitely tune in 99.5 FM. Those of you who are listening from New Providence, Grand Bahama, throughout the family of islands, and definitely around the world, thank you so much for tuning in and making GPS a part of your afternoon. Let's pray we stay up for the rest of the show. Okay? No more dropping off from the internet. Okay, so sitting with me now is Chadwick James, who's the coordinator of the men's desk of the Department of Gender and Family Affairs. And you were making a very powerful point when we got dropped off, and I'm hoping you remember what that point you were. Let's go with it. Go right back into it.
Yes, just to kind of recap, the son, now we have Jesus being baptized. Your statement was for what is your job as father? Affirm your children. Your job is, just like God said, this is my beloved son, in whom I am well pleased. If God did not approve Jesus, Jesus could not do the work of God. And because fathers are out of, after we already approve our children, after we already gave them and endorsed what they're doing, the second thing, which should be the first thing, but the second thing we should have to do is love our wives like Christ loved the church.
Say that again, my brother.
If we do not love our wives, then obviously we will do anything to them. Remember now, we want to talk about loving our wives. Christ loved the church. Christ loved the church so much, he gave his life for the church. He died. We have issues now about people talking about spousal rape. Will you rape you? Will you feel glad to know that you love someone and you're raping them or you abusing them? Husbands, love your wives. Once you love your wife, you will give your life like Christ did for the church. So the responsibility isn't worrying about what all you have to do. I know I iron better. I say this publicly. I know I iron better than my wife. No question about it. I know I clean better. Why? Because I'm stronger. So she scrub out the bathtub. No matter how good she tries to do it, I am stronger than she is, so I can scrub harder than she can. So it doesn't matter if it's the wife was supposed to clean the house or make sure the house is clean. That's the bottom line. As we love our wives, she will give you 100%. There's no queen without a king. If you love your wife and respect your wife, she'll be the queen in your house. So if there's a queen in the house, they must be. Stop trying to be equal by way of you got to do this and I got to do this. No, let's be equal in the fact that you're better than me in that area. You do that 100%. I'm better than you in this area. Let me do this 100%. So that we'll have an excellent marriage, excellent children, excellent family, excellent nation, and it goes on. So that's our job as men, not to compete, but to complement. And that's what I try to teach all of the men I come into contact with. And they don't even have to remember now, a lot of stuff, even in scripture, is not spiritual. A lot of stuff in scripture is just principles. If you stand on principles, you could be a Hindu, you could be a Muslim, you could be a Christian. It's a principle.
Yes.
If you put red Kool-Aid powder in white water, clear water, that's coming up red. Why? Because it's a principle. Add still a little bit of sugar to that, that's going to be a nice, cool, refreshing drink.
Yes.
That's a principle. But if you put dirt in that, it's going to become mud. It's just a principle. You don't need to be saved to do that. There's a lot of stuff that we do because of principle. Love your wives. Give up yourself for your wife. The more you give up of yourself, the more she'll give up of herself. She's a helpmeet. She'll help you meet anything you are. And that makes you a better man and her a better woman. Not because she thinks she's a woman, but because she's better in herself.
That's a man would say that just now. I ain't coming my mouth. That's a man would say that just now. Okay? This is so important what you just said. I think what people need to understand is that a key role of the man when it comes to the women in his life, whether it's his wife, his daughter, his sisters, It is your job to cultivate.
Of course.
Cultivate and understand that we are incubators. Now, let me start with the cultivation first. What is to cultivate? To make better than what you found it in.
Yes.
So you could have a garden, as an example, overgrown with weeds because nobody is cultivating that garden. But if you show love to that garden,
Yes.
if you pull up all the weeds, if you give that garden all of the fertilizer that it needs and the correct environment, you're going to have a bloom of roses coming up. Whatever flowers you have planted, you're going to have a beautiful garden, pleasant to be at. But if you don't cultivate that thing, you can't get vexed when you see the weeds coming up.
That's what you sow. That's what you
I
reap.
talking sense?
That's what you sow. That's what you reap. Everybody a green thumbs. You know, in the Bahamas, we say a green thumb.
Right.
Whatever you plant, you will get. So if you plant negativity, you get negativity. Whatever you plant.
And that leads me next to what we call incubation. A woman is an incubator.
course.
What does that mean? She will take what you give her,
Of course.
she will incubate that, she will make that thing grow, and then she can give that back to you. Let's look at the seed of a man. You put that seed in a woman, she incubate that seed for 9 months, she come back to you and she hand you a baby, right? Whatever you give her, she will incubate that, she can take that in, she can make that thing grow, and then she can hand it back to you.
Of course.
So if you complaining about your wife being miserable, oh, that's a miserable woman, oh, she doing it. What kind of seed are you giving to her? What are you giving her to incubate and make grow and give back to you? This is something that I think men need to understand.
To add to that, Ms. Malcolm, this is the thing that you're saying. You said you give it to her and she takes it and she makes it grow. But this is what we miss. God said to multiply, not add, not an addition, multiplication. So whatever you give her, she multiplies
She can
it.
multiply that
Not
thing,
just
though.
add it. You don't just get one.
No.
Even though you might have one child, that one child has so much potential. Remember now, the one tree, you can see how much seeds in the apple, but you cannot see how much trees in the seed.
Right?
So that one child could be a number one menace. You cannot see, he's going to kill the whole world.
My God.
Or that one child could be the evangelist who will save the whole world. So
Wow.
it's being multiplied. It's just not being added. When she's that incubator, she's going to give you everything you need out of that one seed. So don't forget the addition. I mean the multiplication and not addition.
That's powerful. Let me read a message that's coming in by way of WhatsApp. It says, pleasant good afternoon. I'm very much enjoying today's show. And to your guest, what a guy. This message needs to get out more among the men and to the women in their lives. Give the men the space to feel safe. Thank you. That's important, eh?
Of course.
That women understand that we create the environment.
Of course. We're thermostat. We're not thermometers. Men ought to be the thermostat. If you come in the house and she's not feeling good, you don't go with the not feeling good spirit. Why are you so angry? Why are you so mad? No. You just adjust the thermostat. And once you adjust the environment, see, remember now, the husband and the wife, if I'm married to you, it's because I'm your most intelligent decision. You made the decision to be married to me. That's your most intelligent.
So if you was a dog, would that make me?
Well, hey, there you go. And you almost caused me to say it. But that's your most intelligent decision. And if that's your most intelligent decision, you got to live with it.
Yeah.
If I marry you and you are all of the other things, that's my most intelligent decision. That should see how intelligent we both are.
Right.
We can't argue over that. This is what we have. So what do? I become the thermostat. I'm not going to take the temperature. I'm going to adjust the temperature. When we learn how to adjust, as men, when we learn how to adjust the temperature, then we have a beautiful home. Nothing is more precious than just seeing your wife please, seeing your wife pleasure, no matter what it is. Nothing is more precious to a man than knowing his wife is pleased. Why?
Wow.
Because even like God said, this is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. It gives me pleasure to see you please. When we start to think like that as men, then we don't have to worry about no other stuff, You would only find yourself crawling somewhere else because of your mischievousness, not because of her. Have nothing to do with her. That's your choice to do that. But
You know, some fellas just tune you up and you say,
well, that's okay. Let me show you how serious I am. My wife and I went grade 1 together. Grade 1 together. My wife and I knew each other now for the past 50 years. We've been married 30 years and we've been dating for 45 years. So if you don't like me, that's just too sad. We have 3 sons.
It is what it is.
The first thing I said to my son, the Lord told me that I was going to have twins. Me was going to have twins. I'm a twin. My twin is deceased. Chadwick and Chadwin. The Lord told me at age 16 I'm going to have twins. So you know what I said to her when I decided to date her? I said, listen, if you don't want to have twins, don't marry me because I haven't twins. And I allowed her to wash in that word. After we got married, after 2 years, because I said, we're going to enjoy our lives as single married people because we were not enjoying our lives as single people the world way.
Right.
So now that we're married, we get 2 years. After 2 years, we're going to have our twins. In 2 years, we had Chadwick and Chadwin the second.
Wow.
We had our twins, and then the Lord promised us one more. So we had another son, Chad Vaughn. But it's because I was able to wash her in the word God gave me. As men, we need to learn to wash our wives, not because we want to. I do not have the privilege of going to bed angry with my wife because forces could attack her. She could go to bed angry with me because she's supposed to cover me. I'm supposed to cover her. So she could turn around and go to sleep and get mad and whatever. But I cannot do that. I don't have the privilege. I have to stop and say, listen, let me cover you. Let me pray for you so that the elements of whatever the spiritual realm can't penetrate the woman that God gave me. So that's my job. What a lot of folk like to say. This is what people like to say. And I just laugh at this. It's the woman who eat the fruit. The woman caused this and the woman caused that. But they don't, that same text, it says, and after she saw that the fruit was good for meat, she ate it. And this is what it went on to say, and gave it to her husband who was with her.
Right
with
there.
her.
And like he was someplace else.
Honey, check this out. Taste
He
it. No,
was
he was with
there.
her. But let me tell you why he ate the fruit. This is why he ate the fruit. No, not influence.
Why?
He ate the fruit because he was made in the image and likeness of God. Being made in the image and likeness of God, God is a creator.
Okay.
God is a protector.
Okay.
So what did Adam do? Adam had to, because he's a protector and he knew God was coming to kill her, he ate the fruit too. So when God comes, he said, God, you got to come through me.
Oh, wow, that's a different perspective.
You have to come through me to get to her. Why? Because if I don't eat this fruit, you could get her because I can't stop you. But if I eat the fruit, you got to come through me.
Because you realize, people, that when she ate that fruit, mankind, nothing happened. Nothing happened. It ain't say mankind fell. It ain't say nothing happened. Why? Because she was not the one who the instruction was given to. And so that's a very powerful point that you made just now.
And to add to that, this is how powerful this is. We were made in the image and likeness of God. If you check in Genesis 3, down to verse 21, 22, it says, and the Lord put skins on them. Had nothing to do. You don't see where he killed no animal. You don't see where they put a sacrifice and then he take the skin and put on them. No. What happened was because man was made in the image of God. When you saw man, you saw God. When you saw God, you saw man. The minute God put skins, that word in the Greek, epi, this is the root word to epidermis. He put this skin on man because man was spirit in a glorified dust. He had to put skin on man. So now people can't see God no more. People start to see skin. You got to see skin because now when you see Michelle Malcolm, you see a beautiful lady, but that ain't who Michelle Malcolm is. Michelle is more than just beauty. Because if anything happens to Michelle Malcolm right now, she will still have that inside, that spirit, that God in her.
This is just the house in which I
Exactly. So this is the skin which God covered himself in the Adam form. You remember Adam, Addam, is the addition of the I am. And that's all we are, the addition of the I am. And the more we understand that we are the addition of the I am, we act like the I am. Why? Because we are supposed to do this in the earth realm that God has done in the heavenly realm. After he gave the keys. Remember the Huios Theos at the baptism, this is my beloved son, whom I'm well pleased. That's what we do now. When our children get older, we give. Do you remember when Jesus was about to leave? He said, "Here, hand over the keys, and I give to you then whatsoever you lose." Why? Because you're representing the I am in the earth realm, the addition to the I am.
I know you got to go. One last question, and then I can take a break and bring on our last guest.
Sure.
I want to talk about the influence that women have on men, right? And I believe that this is just a natural part of the gifting that God gave women to influence. We are influencers.
Of course.
And a lot of the stupidity you see these stupid boys that they're doing is because they're trying to impress some kind of
Exactly.
woman, right? Now, as an influencer, I think women need to understand the power that they have over the men in their lives. You talked about the role of Joseph. I want you all to look at the scripture when it talks about when Jesus was 12 years old and decided to leave the caravan and go back to Jerusalem. And 3 days later, they realize this boy is missing, and they all panicking, looking all over the place for him.
Right.
And they finally find him in the temple. And his mother says to him, "Son, why would you do this to us? Didn't you know we'd be worried about you?" And he said to her, he was smelling himself at 12. "Woman, don't you know I would be about my father's business?" And she simply said to that boy, "Don't you ever do this again." We ain't heard more from Jesus until he was 33. She sounded like a baby mother.
That's a baby mother.
Boy, don't test me. Don't you ever
Brought you in.
do this
I'll take care of it.
again. At the age of 33, they attended his wedding. The people run out of wine. She looked at him and she said, "Boy, these people run out of wine. What you gonna do?" "Woman, it is not yet my time." He 33. His mom say, "Come here."
Whatever he said.
Whatever he say, do. Do. In other words, boy, I say.
Exactly.
Stop being so loud because they're doing an interview in there with the first lady. Boy, I say, go make them people some wine.
Of course.
And even though he said, "It is not yet my time," he went ahead and he made that wine.
Of course.
Women have influence. And we need to understand that that influence is very, very powerful. So how do we, as women, ensure that the role that we are playing in the lives of these men are not influencing them for wrong, but influencing them to be the best that they can be, so that we can be the best that we can be?
Let me show you influence. This is a real life story. Before I was at Simpson Pen, I used to go to the prison 4 times a year. And I would preach 4 times a year to the prison, 4 times. But I only carried 1 man and about 6 women. And I would tell them, put on a lot of fragrance, put on a lot of cologne, put on your Chanel and your Gucci. I tell them, put that on. And once I walk up, they dress appropriate. Once we walk up in the chapel, all these women come in, not a sound. They would sit there, and I would use the women and their beauty to lull the men. So we don't know ruckus. Once we start the teaching, then they move from looking at the women to looking at the preaching, because the preaching now influenced. I met a young man who came out of the prison after. He said, "Bishop, I look forward to you all coming to jail with us." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because once you come, you can bring woman, smell dead good. And we can smell woman in jail for 2 weeks straight. We can smell, this, all these years, just smell woman." Now, that sounds crazy. Just like you use a scripture, the woman with the alabaster box and the spikenard. Do you know that that woman, before the burial, before Jesus was ready to get whipped and scourged, she poured that precious spikenard on Jesus' head. until it went all over him.
Yes.
When they scourge him, they whip him 39 lashes, rip his skin to pieces, put him on the cross. And the Bible, spikenard was a fragrance that Mary Magdalena and the people of the night used. But according to being a person of the night, according to your fragrance, they would know who you are. If you wore the essence of fragrance, they know that's a cheap set. But when you wear the real spikenard, they would put it on their ears and their forehead and under the chin. And once that breeze blow, men know go that way for the good-looking women, go that way for the expensive women. They knew this is one of those high-class women who poured the spikenard on Jesus. Men, when Jesus was lifted up, men came running to the cross. They came looking for a woman and found Jesus. They could smell the spikenard in the atmosphere, the aroma of spikenard. So a lot of men came, more men was around the cross because they came looking for Mary Magdalena. When they found it was Jesus, they said, truly, the result of the influence. As a result of the influence, that's what we know. So to tell our ladies, listen, stop influencing our men to carry the guns. Stop influencing our men that I'll carry the gun in my purse for you. Stop influencing our men to thief for you, to steal for you, to do all these foolishness. You have influence. As a result of your influence, show them this is what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. Show them the positive so that we'll get the job done because of women's influence.
Wow. This was powerful indeed. I know you got to go. And we do have another guest standing by. I want to say thank you so much for this time on the show today and for all the work that you're doing at the Department of Gender and Family Affairs of the Men's Desk. Thank you so much.
Bless you. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to switch gears. You know, I can't hold you. No, I want to know, right? So let's take a break. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Exactly.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all: schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy with Mailboat's US addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the Mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the Mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
WAM, or Commonwealth of Nations, is now underway, and we're coming to you live from there. I promised you guys yesterday that we'd be talking to the men today, and I delivered on that promise, at least for the first hour and 30 minutes of the show was all dedicated to men. But as you can imagine, this is because duty calls. In the middle of working this conference, April Garvey, who's the chairperson of the Grand Bahama Family Island Gender-Based Violence Committee. Before we bring her into the conversation, let's tell you how you can become a part of the conversation. The telephone numbers to call are 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 801-0271, 801-0271. We are streaming live on Facebook, on the official Michelle Malcolm Facebook page, as well as the official Global 99.5 YouTube. You can check us out there. And you can also find us on Cable Bahamas channel 974. And you can download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device and check us out there. You can also tune in by way of radio. A huge welcome to all of you who are in New Providence or tuned in from outside the country. As I said, we're coming to you live from Paradise Island, where the 13 Women's Affairs Ministers meeting, 13 WAM of the Commonwealth of Nations, is now underway here on Paradise Island. 56 Commonwealth nations, are what is being represented at this meeting today. And the theme is equality towards a common future, making it happen with the Commonwealth family. And everybody's gathered here today to talk about, for the next couple of days, actually, the meeting is from the 21st to the 23rd of August. And we have representatives from across the world, Africa, Asia, Europe, the Americas, the Caribbean, etc., have all gathered here to discuss women's affairs, women and girls affairs in terms of empowerment, in terms of implementing better strategies for the protection, disabilities. There are so many areas that were covered at this meeting. Sitting next to me is April Garvey, who is the chairperson of the Grand Bahama Family Island. Can you ask them to keep it down for me, please? Again, we're in a fluid environment. So, April Garvey, the chairperson of the Grand Bahama Family Island Gender-Based Violence Committee, who is a delegate at this conference, at this meeting, or you just were invited
I was
guest?
invited as an observer for this. The Department of Gender and Family Affairs have already established in Nassau.
Okay.
And they decided that this is something that needs to be expanded to the Family Islands. Abaco started first, and then it was initiated in Grand Bahama. In April is when it was formed. So there's a wide range of persons from the Grand Bahama community, persons that are in healthcare services. We have nurses, we have police officers, we have pastors, we have a range of persons. And what this committee is all about is there are times when persons cannot reach social services. We also have persons involved in social services. All departments are a part of this right now. But it is looking at the communities at large. So when something happens, some violent situation, some abuse, you may not be able to pick up the phone and call social services after 5, they're closed. But you will know Mr. So-and-so or Pastor so-and-so. It's now getting everyone involved in realizing that there has to be some structure and change to help if we intend to eradicate. I don't say the word fight, because fight is chaos. What we need to do is diffuse and break the situation down.
I like that.
And if we can start to pull the barriers down, because if you and I are fighting, that's just going to be a fight.
Yeah.
It's not until someone can come and break us apart, and whoever can begin to break the situation down. And that is what we're aiming for. I think in times past, even where we're learning, we have been very reactive. We are now learning how to be proactive. And that is what this WAM conference is. It's bringing people from everywhere in the world realizing we are going towards one common goal. And what's this goal? We are trying our best to use all our resources, all the information coming together to say we have to stop the violence against women, against boys, against girls, against everyone. If we begin to look at people as human beings, as having value, when we devalue anything,
yes,
then it means nothing.
Yes.
And until we can change that perspective, that is what the aim of this entire conference is. And that is what the aim of the Department of Gender and Family is all about, trying to get it now spread throughout the island.
I think one of the big takeaways or benefits of this meeting is that even though you have representatives from literally all over the world, there are so many commonalities in terms of the issues facing women and children. And you are able to now come together in a room, share your experiences, share what is working in that particular country that you may not have thought of in this particular country, and vice versa, and make adjustments at the end of the day based on that collective knowledge. Have you seen that happening here?
Yes. I want to share something that when we talk about violence or abuse, we know, we understand that. We know these things are not new. Even though we're hearing on news, what we have in our time on this modern age is technology. So things transmit faster. But abuse, rape, molestation, those things have been a part of our society for generations beyond.
It's true.
We don't want to accept that.
It's true.
What we have, we have many commonalities that was in that room. One in particular is culture. The Caribbean is made up of some 56 countries, 1/3 of the
Commonwealth.
world. The Commonwealth, sorry, some 56 countries. But the Caribbean, that is 1/3 of the world. When you look at where we are based. But the Commonwealth is 56, or plus if I'm wrong with that number.
56 nations, yeah.
Nations. So nations of diversity, all having common problems. So we know all the problems, but culture is still the main thing that has caused a lot of these crimes and evils to continue in our society,
Now,
especially
when you
being
say culture,
silent.
what you mean by that? Explain that.
Well, we come from, let's talk about the Bahamas. Let's
Right.
talk about us.
Mhm.
We come from being taught, handed down generation after generation. If this happens, stay quiet. No, don't say nothing about that. What that does is seed it to happen more and more. There's no exposure. There's no accountability because if what is being done to me, but until there's a spotlight on it, until it's brought to light, now it opens a different avenue. So this is what this entire conference is all about. And I think we are moving towards that. It may seem like a slow process, but it is happening. What has happened in our grandparents' time and even my mother's time is different in our time because we do have social services, we do have outlets, but there's so much more that we need to do. In that room, if anyone wasn't there, I can tell you the wealth of information. If everyone takes one thing back into their country, into their communities, into their families, we will begin to change. There were women and men from all over the world coming together and deciding that we are going to make a change. We can do this. We have the power, not physical strength, but the intelligence. We have information. We have persons on board. That, like I said, culture. We have to change the mindsets. We have to. There was one presenter, and something that she said resonated with me so much. She was saying things that we take for granted, other people have to fight even harder for.
Wow.
We all are trying to eradicate this violence and abuse, molestation rate. But in some cultures, it's even more so. Things that we have readily available. Persons have to go to their, first of all, their traditional leaders or tribal leaders. They have to now talk to the modern leaders, even within the religious setting, talk to teachers and families. Things like forced marriages.
Yes.
That if you would have sex with a 10-year-old, 11-year-old here, you're going to jail. But in countries that have been handed down for hundreds of years, that's a way of their life.
Yes.
Now you have to change the mindset, you have to change the pattern, and the fight is even more so in countries where just saying this village or this area needs clean water, women need sanitation, our children go to school. There are communities where you have people fighting just to provide education for women. So still. And when we talk about in our country, we talk about in our setting, we are talking about what we see around. And yes, we have our struggles, but we don't understand the gravity until you sit and you listen to other
What's really going on
peoples
around
in the world.
You realize how good people
How,
have it.
yes,
Wow.
yes.
That's a scary thought, but wow, I get
Yes,
it.
and in 2023, one of the presenters said something that was true. I think it was Barbados or Granny said, I'm not sure, but a lot of presenters, and they were coming with powerful presentations. But one person said, the mere fact that we are in 2023 trying to advocate for these rights tell us how far behind we really are. This should be a common thing. You know, Bishop James and I were talking before the interview. The things that we are trying to put in place were principles, back to what he said, principles that God had already put in place.
Right.
So when we look at if we can go back to basic love, because if I love you and I care about you and I see you as worthy or worthwhile, then it changed the dynamics. But until we can change a mindset, even with women, we see the things that are going on in the news. We hear about it, and
Yeah.
everyone is again, oh my God,
Right.
and then we go on to our normal life again. But until we can get across to this woman that you are worth
You have
so
value.
much more
You have value. Yes.
than what this man has presented that you should be. Because a lot of times the children are collateral damage. That's all they are. So if I don't feel any worth for myself, I can't feel worth for my child, because John Doe has said this is as much as I'm worth, and if it satisfies him with my child, that I can be okay. So we're balancing, I need some food and a roof over my head versus the protection of my child. Who's going to win? And this is why all of this has happened in this setting these last 3 days, that people all over are coming together with ideas. There is need for shelters. There is need for economic uplifting of women. That is one of the main things that keep women in very bad situations, in bad relationships. Let's be real. We can skirt around that all we want to, but that's the reality. The economic situation of many women has to be relieved. They have to be able to have a sense of fairness in the workplace, being able to take care of themselves, take care of their children. We have to, that is where the equality and the equity comes in.
Powerful stuff. One thing that I was really encouraged by, as I stood on the sidelines and I watched who was walking into the sessions. You're seeing women and men across the political divide. I saw PLP ministers of government. I saw PLP supporters. I saw FNM female senators, and this was not about politics over these past several days. Because in the Bahamas, everything is politics. We can't see past our tribal colors. But what I was most impressed with, at least very impressed with at this meeting, is that it seemed to cross the political divide. And people, regardless of what their political persuasion is, came together to discuss these very important issues. I was quite impressed with that.
Have you ever cried?
Of course.
What color is your tears?
Color.
That's my point. Pain, hurt, death, all of that is not defined by any political party.
Right.
Hurt and pain is experienced by everyone. Everyone in that room is speaking about what had happened. In the second session that we had, there was a presenter that spoke about her time of being abused, raped at 15, all of the things that happened to her. You couldn't see what political party she supported. You don't know where she's from, she's Bahamian. But the fact that she had endured such pain and such hurt, there are persons in that room from different countries, and they have all kinds of political persuasions, but they come together on one goal. We're saying it's not only talking about equality for women. When we use that word gender in the Bahamas, that is so misunderstood.
Yes.
Because of everything that has been going on. But there's only two genders. At the end of the day, we're human. Your sexual opinion of yourself or your persuasion, that is your personal, that's your personal belief. But when we're talking about hurt and pain, abuse, molestation, all of that, that is international, that is worldwide.
Right.
And we have a social problem, a systemic problem that we have to eradicate. This isn't isolated. So until we realize that we have to get past that, the reason why that word gender is used, meaning it incorporates everyone, man, woman, boy, girl. Everyone is hurt. Molestation and rape happens to our little boys. It have that girls. We now are dealing with the problem of human trafficking. We have so many issues. Then we have the disabled. They are also at the table saying they need equality. We don't know at what point in our lives any one of us can fall victim.
Right.
Some persons are born that way, but some people ended up that way during life, some experience. So there's a majority of issues that are being brought to this. It is not just one issue or just violence. It is talking about leveling the playing field on every area and bringing real issues. Because when you're talking about the basic things that all persons should be able to have, education, health, that should be across the board.
Right.
No matter your disability, no matter your limitations. And sometimes you have to just get help up. Yes, we're all from different economic statuses, where we have differences. We're from different environments, different backgrounds, but there should be basic things that all of us should be allowed to have. And if we can start off with getting basics, and that's what all the other countries are saying too. But there are countries that our basic is greater than what their basics are. Simple things. So we're coming together with ideas, with solutions, and we're bringing that all at one table and saying, okay, when you tell me what works in your household, maybe that could be something I can use. Maybe not everything, because you may have 6 children, I only have 2.
Right.
But, oh, I didn't know I could use that. That helps me. We're coming together with ideas. And if we can continue on that, and there's some other conversations that need to be dealt with too. You know, we also as women, and I have to say this, I might get thrown under the bus, as women, we need to begin, we're talking about men, I'm happy, Bishop James, we're talking about working together. Men and women have to work together. Men and women have to work together.
Yes.
That's the only way we
Only
can
way
make
this
this
can
work.
work. Only
Because men, our fathers have to speak to their sons and say, abuse and violence is wrong. Our women have to also teach our children and our daughters that respect for themselves and also for others. And when it comes to women, we need to stop always trying to bring our women down. Women also, that's another conversation.
Hello, that's a show within itself.
That's a show within itself. We talk about the glass ceiling and the concrete ceiling. Women do more. So while we're fighting on one end to get rights, and we also have to talk about how we see ourselves. Because if I see myself a limited value, but you're confident about yourself, then I automatically have a problem with you. If you're in need, and we were talking about this, and I know this, I don't want to deviate from, but I think this is a conversation that needs to be brought up.
Yes.
Because I'm carrying myself well, because my hair is done, or I look
thinks she
who
is.
she thinks she is, or that means you don't need any help, or the time you take to be wearing that, she should be feeding her children. Just because I'm presenting myself, how do you want me to look? Do I have to look like I'm suffering just then it means that I'm okay?
Right.
We have to change the mindset across the board. So while we're talking about what the men do, we also need to talk about what the women need to do. And we have to work together going to one common goal.
That is powerful. Listen, let's take this final break. On the other side of the break, we're going to wrap this up with April Garvey, the chairperson of the Grand Bahama Family Island Gender-Based Violence Committee. This has been such a powerful event. We're meeting some incredible people like those who sat on our set today and others. I have to tell you, I'm very, very encouraged by what I believe will come out of this. So let's take this break, and then we're going to wrap it up on the other side. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Blood sugar levels play a key role in your appetite, weight gain, and overall health. When you have a blood sugar spike, you can feel confused, dizzy, and even have increased cravings. Eating carbohydrates, sugary or fatty foods, and not exercising can all cause blood sugar spikes. But now you have help in managing blood sugar levels. Sweeties by Youngevity was designed to help support healthy blood sugar levels, so you can power through your day. It's a synergistic blend of minerals, herbs, and nutrients that have been proven to support healthy blood sugar levels. Sweeties includes chromium, an essential trace mineral that's known for its contribution to healthy blood sugar levels and improved metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Cinnamon bark has been included for its naturally occurring antioxidants and support of a healthy heart. And we've even added gymnema. It's been used in Ayurveda for centuries to help promote healthy blood sugar. All the ingredients in Sweeties work together to give the best support available for blood sugar control. Sweeties, the blood sugar support supplement from Youngevity that helps control cravings and manage blood sugar levels through your day. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, paints, and tires.
We are are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
As you age, factors like health, weight, diet, and lifestyle can all impact your bones, joints, and general mobility. Even everyday exercise can lead to wear and tear on your body. Over time, you might start to experience stiffness or pain due to damaged joints or connective tissue. Ultimate Glucogel by Youngevity was created to help you limit the effects of wear on your joints. It delivers a daily dose of collagen-rich gelatin your body needs for joint elasticity and maintenance. Ultimate Glucogel contains a 1-to-1 ratio of gelatin and glucosamine sulfate, which is a key building block of your bone matrix, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, and connective tissue. Gelatin's unique blend of amino acids not only help with muscle and joint health, but also has been shown to provide additional benefits for the brain, skin, and hair. Ultimate Glucogel. Natural, optimal daily support for joint health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Radio 99.5.
All right, welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Listen, we're going to wrap this up because, as you can tell, we've been having internet issues, and we only have a couple of minutes left anyway. So, April Garvey, chairman of the Grand Bahama Family Island Gender-Based Violence Committee, who's here attending the WAM meeting. Give us your final thoughts, please.
If there's one thing I would want to leave everyone with is that this was totally phenomenal. The Bahamas made a world-class event happen here, not just with the presenters, but the entire thing. I want to definitely give a special thanks to our First Lady for hosting such an event. There was nothing amiss at this. And most of all, the information that came forth, the combination of countries and information, people, cultures, all of that was in one room. All of that was in, from indigenous leaders to persons from more cultural. It was excellent. And us as a country, we were able to present our issues and also get information that will assist us. So this isn't just an event. This is something that will stay in the minds and hearts of everyone that was a part of it. And this is truly the beginning of something much larger. You don't see the effects of anything you do at the point when it happens. You see it for the future. And everything that you do, even the things that seem impossible, once it begins, you will see the end result. So this is a process.
It's all about the legacy.
It's about the legacy that will be left behind. So I'm so happy I was able to be a part of this. And anyone that was a part of this for the past 3 days will definitely be able to share a wealth of information to make every community better. And that's the whole point of one of these conferences.
Ms. Garvey, thank you so much for being here today. Truly appreciate it. And thank you to our guests who came on earlier. And thank you to all of you who have tuned in and watched. Please like and share the show. I know a lot of people thought that there was going to be a Wellness Wednesday, and babies don't care much about their health. So plenty of them say, they ain't checking with Michelle today. So let them know that this was not our typical Wellness Wednesday show, that we did talk about matters of importance to them, and they should definitely watch the show a little later on. Until tomorrow, I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for tuning in, and God bless. Take care.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
This is 99.5 Global FM, your number one source for our